In 1453, the Ottoman Empire did what many European powers thought impossible. They breached the massive walls of Constantinople. This victory proved they possessed a highly effective military machine capable of taking supposedly impregnable targets. With the eastern capital secured, Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror immediately set his sights on the second center point of Christianity in Europe, Rome. Looking at this map, you can see exactly why the invasion seemed so feasible. The Ottoman borders had pushed right up to the Adriatic Sea, placing the eastern coast of Italy within close striking distance. Across that narrow body of water, Italy was entirely fractured. Instead of a unified nation, the peninsula was a patchwork of squabbling factions. Rulers in Naples, Sicily, Aragon, and the Angevin lines were actively at war over overlapping claims to the throne, leaving their borders completely uncoordinated. Mehmed knew exactly how vulnerable they were. In a recorded conversation with a Florentine merchant spy, the Sultan openly dismissed the Italians' chances, noting that they were split into 20 warring states and bitter enemies. He believed such a divided region could never unite to stop his unified army. According to standard military logic, an organized, well-funded empire should have easily rolled over a neighbor crippled by infighting. Yet the Ottomans never claimed Rome. The Adriatic Sea presented a massive logistical hurdle for transporting a heavy land army, so the Ottomans planned to march directly into northern Italy. But that momentum completely stalled. A local insurgency erupted in Albania, cutting off the overland path entirely. The Albanian resistance was led by a military commander named Skanderbeg. Because he had spent time as an Ottoman hostage during his childhood, he intimately understood their battle tactics and used that insider knowledge to repeatedly ambush and defeat the Sultan's encroaching troops. At the same time, a second major insurgency flared up further north. Vlad III, better known as Vlad Dracula of Wallachia, began aggressively harassing Ottoman forces. Coupled with other northern resistance leaders like Stephen the Great of Moldavia, these rebellions fractured the empire's focus. The Ottomans had to pacify these buffer states before they could safely commit to a massive western march. These localized fights operated as a geopolitical meat grinder. By bleeding the Sultan's resources and attention into neighboring territories, the insurgents bought Italy decades of borrowed time. That borrowed time eventually ran out. When Skanderbeg died of malaria, the primary obstacle in the Balkans vanished, and Mehmed's window to invade reopened. Bypassing the overland route altogether, the Sultan pivoted to a direct naval assault. In the summer of 1480, he launched a massive invasion fleet of 128 ships straight across the Adriatic Sea. They landed near the southern Italian port city of Otranto. After a brief 2-week siege, the city's walls ruptured, and Ottoman troops poured through the breach. As the army secured the citadel, they killed roughly 12,000 citizens and enslaved another 5,000, establishing a terrifying foothold on the peninsula. This initial devastating success proved exactly what Mehmed had predicted years earlier. Once his war machine actually reached Italian soil, the divided regional powers were entirely incapable of repelling the shock of the assault. This bar chart visualizes a severe logistical crisis. Out of local supplies, the commander sailed the bulk of his force back to Albania. Zooming in on the remainder, only 800 infantry and 500 cavalry were left to defend Otranto against surrounding Italian kingdoms. Those reinforcements never came. In May 1481, Sultan Mehmed II suddenly died. His death triggered an immediate crisis over who would succeed him. The resulting internal chaos completely severed the logistical tether back to the capital, abandoning the troops stationed in Italy. Cut off from their empire and starved of supplies, the remaining garrison had no choice. By September 1481, they surrendered to Christian forces and left the peninsula for good. No matter how powerful an invading force is, it operates at the mercy of its supply chain. A single severed link, even one caused by sudden natural death thousands of miles away, can starve out a victorious army. After the failure at Otranto, the Ottomans realized the logistical friction of fighting across the sea in the west was simply too high. They redirected their focus and resources toward expanding into Hungary, Persia, and Egypt instead. Any lingering ambitions for the peninsula were formally extinguished in 1699 with the Treaty of Karlowitz. The agreement halted Ottoman hostilities toward Italy and forced the empire to cede major Western territories to an alliance of European adversaries. While the Ottomans maintained a massive footprint in the eastern Mediterranean, the ultimate prize they originally sought, the ancient streets of Rome, remained entirely untouched by their armies. Italy survived the expansion of a highly organized military juggernaut, but not because of its own brilliant defenses or a sudden realization of national unity. Raw military might and a divided opponent rarely dictate the final outcome on their own. Instead, borders are decided by the friction of geography, the stubborn resistance of buffer states, and the sheer, unpredictable luck of timing.